to win in doing business in Africa, make sure everyone wins. Just say more.
If you were to, be successful in running your business, you need to think about the community, involve everybody. Otherwise, you're gonna have a lot of many missteps and fail. So that comes from the concept of creating shared value.
Yes.
Africa has got many problems, many challenges. If you're a business doing business in Africa, you have to think about how you solve those, societal problems. There was this young girl, Damien, that we took. She was amazing, unbelievable. She said, look, Peter, I've seen you solve all the problems. They've arranged the marriage. I must marry this guy. I don't like the guy. I think you must, stay until Saturday and talk to my parents. Otherwise, I'm going to leave. I've applied at Harvard to do my master's. I will leave if they try to marry me this, but I know you can solve it. She was like pushing me. And then
Hello, I'm Dr. Maanda Tshifularo, and on today's episode of the SuperLead Podcast series, we are joined by Peter Mehlape, who has been at the forefront of advancing access to quality healthcare and driving transformation across Africa. And on today's episode, we are unpacking his latest book, Winning in Africa, Your Next 8 Moves for Business Success in Africa. Peter, welcome to SuperLead Podcast.
Thank you very much for inviting me here. I've always wanted to be here, but I guess I didn't do much to earn the invitation to show up. But hey, I made it.
You had to write a book. I had to wait for the big reveal.
Yeah, this is a big motivation to write another book.
Yes, so that you come back to the studio.
Back.
No, that's true. But we've done a lot of work together already, I think, for over a year now.
Yeah, we have.
So we just need to spend a bit more time on the studio, which means you must write another one.
Yeah, actually, it's probably in the making.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's starting to think about the content we've created on Off the Clock.
Yes.
Interviewed over 70 CEOs or leaders. You still have to come.
There's that part too.
Yeah, maybe we can do it here.
Yes.
And, every story is different. Personal stories that I think can, impact on people's lives. They can make use of those experiences because CEOs are not made in a business school or a factory somewhere. They all come from different angles.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now, you've written this incredible book titled Winning in Africa, Your Next 8 Moves for Business Success in Africa. So we will unpack this in this podcast. But before we do that, I want to know about the author, who is Peter, from as early as possible.
So early as possible is somebody who came from Limpopo, hails from Limpopo.
Which part?
Mankweng, Tefliop, where the University of the North is.
Okay, yes,
right
yes,
there.
yes.
I come from a very big family of 10 kids. I'm number 7
No way.
in the kids, so nobody thinks about me. I'm kind of the forgotten one in the family.
Sure.
And I lived most of my kind of formative life there, and I came up to had a family in Diepkloof, did a little bit of schooling, uprisings, went back and finished.
So what does that mean? So you do primary school in Limpopo?
I did some primary school a little bit here in Diepkloof, and
who was here?
My mom Kolo was here.
Okay.
My family, my mom there were 8 in the family, and her and Mom Kulu, and she had more boys than her, and said,
Okay.
look, can one of the boys come stay with me? I happen to be the one.
Okay.
So that's how it evolved into me spending some time up here in Joburg, and but going back, finishing school, high school, everything up
Back
there.
in Limpopo.
Yeah, and then came back, for everything, tertiary.
And where did you go for tertiary?
So what a lot of people don't know about me is, and I tell people that just always get surprised. My aunt, it's actually in the book, my aunt conned me to be a registered male nurse when it was not in fashion.
I can imagine.
I actually enjoyed it.
How did she do this?
No, she said, that time the profession was very open to, male nurses.
Okay.
I just, the first year I kind of worked with my cousin who was distributing racing tips for the horses running either on a Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday around the country. So I got to know how the whole racing industry works at a very young age. And
so what is distributing racing tips?
So there was a company in Boysens in Joburg printing this race. It's like a magazine, they analyze the horses and say this horse, Brazil, whatever, gold, grew up in Alberton, was a twin horse, whatever, raised and win races and all that. And they talk about the jockeys that were riding them.
Sure.
And sell those tips for people to bet on the horses.
I see.
So it was almost like a newspaper, but not a newspaper. Because the horses, once a month, that time, they will run on Wednesday and Saturday, or sometimes they do a Tuesday and a Thursday run and a Saturday.
Okay.
But then it will be Turfontein in Germiston, Newmarket in Alberton, Durban, or Kenilworth in Cape Town.
You had to go everywhere?
No, we're just supplying them here in Joburg.
Oh, okay.
But they were sold in restaurants like magazines, those racks. People want to bet, you go to, it's your go-to guide.
Sure.
Say this horse is going to win, the jackpot, the pick six and all that. So I got to understand a little bit of that gaming at a very young age.
Okay.
Yeah. Then in that process, my aunt, I used to visit her, also she was in Diepkloof, and she said, look, they recruiting for male nurses, don't want to do this. And obviously I looked at her in a different way.
Yeah.
I thought it's a woman's world.
Yes, yes.
And once I got it, I applied and they took me, and I did a 4-year diploma in nursing, of which part of it was to be a midwife.
Right.
So I have to deliver 100 babies to qualify. So you keep a register to do natural vaginal deliveries of 100 normal, and to qualify, so spend a year doing that. Psychiatry, community health, in terms of looking at the social ills of drug abuse, all issues in the community, and of course the general nursing. So that grounded me, that gave me a huge foundation in terms of how life is lived today, which in a way, it's also in the book, influenced me, my family, when I eventually got married and had kids of my own. I was much more closer to them, changing nappies, preparing the feeds. And so what I'm still suffering from today is my wife sometimes, let me just say she leverage on that. And say, weekends I'll wake up and I have to make a bet. Like, you do it so well, why don't you do it? I'll leave it to you, type of a thing. So those things anchored me and shaped me and influenced me. I worked a little bit at Helen Joseph way back. It used to be called J.G. Straydom Hospital for white people only.
Sure.
And that time they wanted to open it up because people were going to Rahima Musa, which is a colored hospital just down the road, which used to be called Coronation Vale Hospital. They wanted to make that hospital a mother and child and a general hospital there. So my first assignment there was to open 2 surgical wards. They were empty because you can imagine, in the country, At best, the population of white people is about 8%, and the hospitals were just for them.
Sure.
So most of the wards were still empty, and they said, me and another registered nurse, Sister Spees, open these wards. So if you've ever been in a hospital for a proper surgical procedure, you stay 2-3 days. There will be, proper beds to kind of keep you upright, and a lot of signs. If you've done a big procedure like nil per os, you don't eat anything ingest anything by mouth. You take the drips for a couple of days until they introduce liquids and all that. Get back your intestine to work again. So created all those signs. Plus you'll need a certain diet or food, or created all the signage and everything else in the flow, including the drugs, Schedule 5, 6, 7, because of the abuse and the addiction related to them or caused by them, they control by register. So if I were to give you a Schedule 5 drug that will kill the pain after big operation, 6, 7, or morphine, have to count them, countersign, lock them, and like really present.
So there is no
created that infrastructure, order those drugs, make sure that the register and everything is there. Order the beds, the bedpans, everything else, the groceries,
set up the
and all
whole
that.
thing.
Yeah. And then I did that about a year or so, and then I left to work with a company that was bought by Empath, which is basically a laboratory diagnostic lab. Van Dremelen Laboratories, so it's just in downtown Elof Street, head office. They wanted somebody to set up a night shift, so they hired me to run there. Hired 2 staff nurses who had cars, so that when they close all the satellite in the hospitals around, they'll run the labs in the hospital
And then
in the morning until 6, and then everything else goes to head office. So if they prescribe blood in 4 ways, we will drive and go collect that blood. So I was a phlebotomist.
Lovely.
So vampire and all that. I did that for about a year and a half. And then I joined the pharmaceutical industry. From ground zero as a rep, calling on doctors. But that time, Upjohn was a company out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, which was bought by Pfizer. Had a lot of drugs that were more mother and child, but labor inducement as well. Stuff that kind of more biased or aligned to my skills, my knowledge. So, I worked in that space for about 2 years and moved on, worked with GSK and Roche, and then out into diagnostic medical devices companies like BD, where I became the CEO. And stayed the longest, about 15 years. And then I think we met when I was the CEO at Medtronic.
Yes, we did. Right.
So a little bit about me, married with 2 children, adult children now. Actually, I do after clock with them. I started with my son. And my daughter was kind of couldn't resist. She this episode I'm going to do with you.
So is it all 3 of you now, or they alternate?
They alternate. I think because of their nature, they often, my son has not been available for the longest. I've been doing most of them with my daughter. So whoever is available, I think it's a leverage for me to kind of, not to fly solo. So. Yeah.
Lovely. So you were CEO at Medtronic until recently. And you co-host a podcast show called Off the Clock. And now you're a published author.
Yes, I am.
So I've written a book, and it's a painful experience, the back and forth and all the rest of it. And I just wonder, why should anyone go through that process? So what's happening in our world today that called this book to be published?
2 things. One is I was lucky that I traveled to over 40 countries around the continent, building business.
So travel to 40 countries, that's it?
44.
44, that's a lot of travel.
Yeah.
So how, why, when?
So, I worked for Sanofi kind of until middle management, where I was responsible for South Africa and Southern Africa. So that allows you to do business across the so-called SADC region.
Sure.
So you get to understand exactly different cultures, different way of doing businesses and all that. And then when I joined BD, I started for about 7-8 months as a business head for a division of the diagnostic business for all Africa.
Sure.
So meaning I have to write a roadmap, decide which countries are priority or important, and go after those opportunities across the continent.
Sure.
It was good because it happened just after I finished my MBA, so I had a lot of foresight, insights, and models and stuff to apply.
Yeah. And what did you do your MBA from the business school?
I did it with the Australian university that was here.
Okay.
And it was quite tough. It was very compact, about 18 to 24 months of really hard labor.
Sure.
So BD really gave me a great break, because after I joined them, they gave me a dual role to run the business and also to be the MD of the business.
Okay.
Then I expanded the business into the continent, set up offices in Zambia, Kenya, West Africa. In fact, at one stage, they gave me a permission to set up the business in Ethiopia, which when I actually evaluated the whole setup, I realized that time the likes of audit firm like Deloitte, E&Y were not set up there.
Sure.
So the accounting and that type of work was done by family-owned accounting businesses, which for a multinational was quite a dodge, to go with that. So I turned that down, and also it was going to require me to deploy a much more bigger team, because I don't know if you've ever been to Addis. If you go to Addis Ababa, a lot of people speak English there, but once you move out of Addis to other regions, nobody speaks English. So you need to employ locals and all that. Interesting country as well, never colonized. It's got a bit of a German influence and the Italians there. Yeah. So that's the reason that basically made me to write the book. I traveled across the continent, acquired so much experience, and I was saying to myself, what will I do? What should I do with this? Should I, die with it or share with it? I thought hard about this. One was maybe I should write a textbook, like a book. That maybe students in your class that is more expanding into Africa could read the book. The other is a lot of things that needs to be spotlighted, I think, in the book, just in terms of sometimes differences in Africa. I think there is probably 3, 4, 5 Africas. People think it's all the same. It's not, and you don't know until you really know, until you really travel. From diets, from dancing, food, drink, and all that, the small things like, for instance, most of the beer companies will start from half a liter size of a beer, not play around, African men, Tusker beer in Kenya is, it's a big bottle. You don't mess around with 300 mils, type of a thing. So, culturally, it's so different, so rich. I think about also the language. How people dance. I remember I was in Addis. We went to Italian restaurants, some other places, because there was a big conference and we're also entertaining customers. And the way they dance, I mean, they use the neck and the shoulders. You know, they roll. You go dizzy when they do it. So think about South Africans, the more south and down, they use a lot of the feet and all that, and the way. So the kind of more high north you are, people dance differently, eat differently, and do things a lot different.
Sure. So happy before we get to the lessons, it's just painting the picture of this travel. So you were based in South Africa,
Yeah.
and you'll be in and out every week, or how did that work? How much time would you spend in a city in the continent?
It was not so much structured. What for me was structured was where our business was big. We had a very big business in East Africa,
Okay.
and a big office in Kenya.
Okay.
I would go, especially at a later stage, I'll make sure that I spend a week in Kenya every month. So yeah, because just as the size of the business, I mean, I was learning the language and understanding the whole thing. At some stage, my Kiswahili was so good. I mean, I was very comfortable, speaking to people and greeting them. Habari zenu, habari yako, mzuri sana, sawa, dada yangu. Like I was just flowing with the language. And somebody joked and saying, why don't you just get a manyata? Manyata is like a mukuku in Kenya and stay there.
Yeah.
And just also what I did was obviously just immerse myself in places when I go, not just sit in a hotel or some places, try to see.
Sure.
Like, I don't know if you heard about the biggest squatter camp in Kenya called Kibera. Mm-mm. It's like, when you ever go ask for a trip to go there,
Sure.
They'll give you some gumboots because some places just water and all that.
Sure.
You can appreciate that deep slow down the road.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so you'll be largely in Kenya, and then the rest of the other countries, the west and the north?
So, I mean, it happened at different times on a need basis and all that. We've had also written in the book, there was a time when we had growing the business in West Africa, in Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, and Gambia. Gambia is a small country, 1 hour flight out of Senegal, British Gambia. Okay. We had a lot of MRC, Medical Research Council from the UK, deploying a lot of research studies there, which our technology for research was deployed there. We just go in there quite a bit, okay. Which was a very interesting country.
Sure.
The countries that we did business is the one that we were kind of frequenting them quite a bit, okay. Going often to those countries.
Okay.
Nigeria was very interesting. We tried a lot to kind of see if we're setting up the office. In, I think, 2014, the company asked me to do to work on a project to see if we can embed the business in Iran and Nigeria.
Sure.
So we did a kind of a country profile to try and understand that. So they allocated a 20 management team from different places in the world in the company. Initially, they said, let's do that project in Vancouver.
Sure.
I said, we can do a high-level plan in Vancouver, but the actual profiling, I insist that we do it in Nigeria. And some people said, let's do it in Abuja, it's better. I said, no, we do it in Lagos. Sure. Lagos is the better flavor of what Nigeria is.
Sure.
And initially, the BD company security was like, you're taking 20 executive in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Somebody must approve.
Yes.
And we got them to approve and flew everybody into that. I got also friends from McKinsey to come help. Ronaldo was running the practice in Lagos for McKinsey. I got somebody from Deloitte to kind of share perspective, because we did it for 3 days. 1 day in a hotel room, and 2 days seeing the hospitals, the research and all that, just understanding, having the feel.
Excellent.
After 3 days, we also had a UPS, this parcel moving company.
Yes.
Because they've been there 20 years at the time, despite all the challenges, to learn from them. And but after 3 days, we agreed that there's a lot of opportunity, but it's still not accessible to us. You know?
Sure. Sure. So those are the realities, I guess, in the continent. So
also, yeah, in the book,
Yeah.
I mean, the fast forward, if you look at the story today of ShopriteCheckers, Checkers, I think they set up about 23 stores in Nigeria, which were booming. They were selling Vev and Muchendon and all those things because, Nigerians have a good appetite for good stuff. But the logistics often don't work in Nigeria. If you have to bring the eggs and the fresh fruit juice from somewhere else, they get stuck in the harbors because you have to fast track, facilitate. It's better if you just maybe let a local run it the way they know best. Yeah.
Okay. So what's the intent of the book? Who must read this book? When should they pick it up from the shelf?
So the book will be available from Monday, 20th of October, from Exclusive Books, Amazon, Take a Lot, Kindle, Noble and Barnes for the international market. In terms of who should be reading the book, or the book is targeted at you professors, lecturers, teaching on Africa.
Yeah.
Initially, when I wrote the book, I thought this book could be a textbook or some supporting material, because the 8 moves are actually telling you step by step how to tackle some of the experiences that I've lived on the road. This book was written from kind of the experience that I personally had. I mean, the one experience was we collaborated with Munich University to set up a lab in Mbeya. Mbeya is a town out of Tanzania. I remember initially I was supposed to go with the lecturers or the professors from Munich. From Dar es Salaam. I missed them because my flight was late.
Yes.
And I had to take a bus, 13-hour ride bus from Dar es Salaam to Mbeya. Was not a bad ride, but they give you 1 Coke all the way as part of the price, and some stop here and there. So we traveled to Mbeya to set up the equipment and the lab really from scratch to be able to support the community there.
Sure.
Which is it's an experience that I lived. What I made sure was when we were going back, they didn't leave me, so I kind of had a ride in a 4x4 back to Dar es Salaam.
You had learned your lesson.
Yeah, which we did with the Americans. Other trips in the also west of Uganda. We went to a place, I forgot the name, it'll come, where actually HIV, they say HIV kind of started there.
Sure.
We took a kind of a 6-hour ride to go and help the community into that. They were doing a lot of prevention, circumcision, and a lot of stuff to drive that.
Sure. Right, so you have got these 8 moves for business success. In an ideal world, we'll cover all of them, but because of time, and we also want our viewers to go out there and buy their own copies of the book, we'll maybe do 2 or 3. Talking about 2, maybe we start with move number 2. To win in doing business in Africa, make sure everyone wins. Just say more.
So the move number 2, which says everyone must win, is just based on the experience on the ground that I had. Is if you were to be successful in running your business, you need to think about the community, involve everybody. Otherwise, you're gonna have a lot of many missteps and fail. So that comes from the concept of creating shared value.
Yes.
Africa has got many problems, many challenges. If you're a business doing business in Africa, you have to think about how you solve those societal problems. In my case, when I was running BDs, we did a lot of partnerships which were looking at solving societal problem. The societal problem at the time was access to healthcare to diagnostic and testing wasn't that deep.
Sure.
So we had to involve the community, involve a lot of partners to work with them in strengthening laboratories, training and teaching people, and also just partnering with them to create structures and setup that were good enough to be able to do that. Sure. And also challenge the company from moving from a social responsibility type, to looking at creating something that was more, sustainable, more durable, but with the buy-in of the community. Sure. But also at the same time, challenging our R&D and saying, not all products in the US or in Europe are fit for Africa.
Sure.
Can you work more to differentiate between emerging markets or third world markets products? For instance, we came up with diagnostic products that were more portable, more battery operated.
Oh, lovely. Yes.
That increased a lot of, access to care. We're able to, provide healthcare in places where there's no address.
Sure.
Sure. So maybe under a tree, sure. At a corner general store next door, provide healthcare. People got immunized. What the other thing was collaboration that we did with the immunization organization with WHO. Looking at we had a product called, we had to create a product called Uniject, where we can put the right dose of immunization, whatever, be it polio, whatever, in a device called Uniject that untrained person can inject the person, many people, without having to know how much, which bottle, take away the glutter of complications of that need a registered nurse or a nurse to be able to do it, that more people can just stick that on the arms of many kids in one day so that everybody get immunized. I recently did a small post on, showing a lot of celebrities like yourself when they were 5-year-old, because if immunization is not, penetrated in communities, people don't make that 50th birthday. So looking at all this, people like Bill Gates himself, who pays a lot of money into immunization and access, their pictures when they were 5, how they were like. I mean, if they didn't get the vaccination and all, they're not going to make that.
Sure.
So making sure that everybody wins.
Excellent. So if someone is listening to us and maybe they want to expand into one of the countries, how do you go about to make sure that everyone goes and win? Do you go find people that you can partner with? How do we practicalize this?
So, I mean, it's actually in the book in terms of how do we go to market, trying to understand. The first is try to work with partners, understanding the lay of the land in terms of what is the local authority structures look like, what is the regulatory framework like in the country, what is access like in terms of the ports receiving the products. Sure. Some products will require cold chain. Sure. So that's the first step, to try and understand that. Then you'll see, who are the important stakeholders to collaborate, team up with, or partner with.
Okay. Lovely. So maybe we take another one here. It says you must lead like King Solomon, which I am curious about. Does it involve marriage? Is one wife not enough to be a good leader in the continent? Let's hear.
Actually, that move is not overweighted on the marriage. It's more on the King Solomon's wisdom.
Okay.
The fact that he was gifted, he was talented to solve very complex problems.
I see.
I think he faced many complex problems in his time, and he was able to deal with it.
Okay.
Not the
marriage part. Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought maybe. So this has to This is to speak to being more wise as you do business in the continent.
Yeah, my experience on the ground, what I faced, I mean, there was a time when I felt like I needed to be, King Solomon, bring King Solomon's wisdom in the room in a number of cases when we're faced with, some of the challenges that, sometimes they needed you, sometimes they didn't.
Okay.
And that's, the area that I'm trying to spotlight. I mean, you all recall, King Solomon faced with an issue of two mothers or two ladies bringing in a child and claiming that is theirs, and how he solved that problem. Very quickly was able to know who the mother was.
Yeah.
So
those are the kind of tricky situations you find yourself in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give away all the secrets.
There's still more. We've got this.
But I think, the one kind of issue that I faced was, which is on the lighter side, we had a young graduate program we're running in across Africa. And there was this young girl, Damien, that we took. She was amazing, unbelievable. But more Somalian heritage. So if you think about the geography of Kenya, I think the province that is more closer to Somalia is very Somalian. With the people and all that, and they move into Kenya. And Damien did very well in an internship. We retained her and all that. And one of the once a month week that I was going to Kenya, I used to look at, they'll book me meetings and all that. So I'll prepare myself. And I see that she booked 1 hour. And my director like, what is this all about? And I said, no, it's personal. She wanted to discuss with me. And that time she said, look, Peter, I've seen you solve all the problems. They've arranged the marriage. I must marry this guy. I don't like the guy. I think you must, stay until Saturday and talk to my parents. Otherwise, I'm going to leave. I've applied at Harvard to do my master's. I will leave if they try to marry me. But damn it, I know you can solve it. She was like, pushing me. And then I said to her, Damien, look, come here. There are boundaries, Damien.
Sure.
I go as far as solving
business
BD's problems and
yes.
all that. I mean, I can see that that's a deal that is between you and the parents. I mean, you have to talk to them. I can't change your parents' beliefs on marriage, on religion, on all those things. I said, look, Peter, I know you can solve this thing, but I want you to solve it. But otherwise, I'm going to leave. I'm not marrying this guy. I'm going to Harvard,
Sure.
and I'll figure out, when I'm done, I'll talk to you, you'll employ me in BD South Africa. I'm not marrying the guy.
Sure.
That's like...
and then?
And, I told her I can't always get involved. That's, we can't pursue suspects beyond the border. There's a boundary for me where I can bring in my King Solomon's wisdom, and it doesn't go into your family, So she left, she went to Harvard, she stayed in touch. It was at the tail end of my time at BD. I left, she's still in touch, and she didn't marry the guy.
And what, did she join BD South Africa?
No, she joined another company, but I think she was successful in...
She was clear,
that she's not going to go to the direct arranged marriage setup, which is that.
Sure.
And I mean, one experience that also kind of influenced me a little bit, if you listen to some of the podcasts on Off the Clock, we ask our guests about how they met their partners, if it was arranged or something.
And?
Yeah, you'd be surprised how a lot of marriages were semi-arranged. If you listen, some were kind of nudged. If you listen, and in fact, we interviewed Eric, who co-founded a company that runs schools, I told you about, in Africa. He married an Indian lady who was the first one to go to university in their family, the first one to go study at, I think they went to Stanford together.
Excellent.
And they met there. And she decided to marry a French guy and go introduced to the parents. The parents are like, They're asking no, they didn't stand in the way, but they were asking the guy and said, look, there are no enough French girls in France. Why are you marrying Rashi? So look, I love her,
And they end up married.
Yeah, they married, they live in South Africa, but was the first one that was, not arranged in the family.
Sure. Okay, so you must lead like Solomon. So there's still some marriage conversation there, even though it's all business.
Not probably in the most positive way.
Maybe let's take move number 5. Embrace the question, what is good enough in Africa? What is that about?
Yeah, for me, that talks to, I touched a little bit about customization. And also just making sure that multinationals or international companies don't just, make a Lamborghini and bring it as it is when the roads are almost non-existent. It's not going to work. You need to customize and bring, products that are more relevant. For us, has been in healthcare has been, portable medical devices. Today, I think it's even more advanced in terms of products that are Bluetooth connected and you can check them remotely and run healthcare, that way. But it's in every industry. You think about in Africa, there's still, you ask yourself in the telco business, there's still this phone that doesn't have a lot of, whistles, bells and whistles on it.
2G phones.
Yeah, the phone is good enough to make a phone call and maybe do an M-Pesa transaction for the money, and that's it. So you think about, all those things,
Sure.
As opposed to, even, you'd be surprised, even some cars that are still sold in some places, they still have the cassette.
Oh, wow.
Oh, now the CDs, which are almost going. Think about when you buy a car, there's no more CD. It's, but some other places, what is the things that you can customize, what makes sense,
Yeah, sure. So we often hear stories of companies that either went into another region of the continent and they stumbled, and then there's case studies to say, oh, look at that one, they went and then they came back. This one went and they didn't succeed. We hardly hear the good stories of successful companies. Maybe one or two to say, look, this one did this, they got in here, understood the market, did some of the things we speak about in the book, and it's a good case study for them.
Yeah, there are many case studies, that are there. One of them is GE cutter scanner that was probably about $200 to $500 price that a physician can put in a pocket and ride a bicycle or motorbike, go see the patients.
Sure.
We've done a point of care CD4 viral node monitoring products for patients in remote places. There are many success stories that are there. Unfortunately, some of them will have the good side and the bad side, but many success stories that are there.
Sure.
That have been done in healthcare and other sectors. Heineken was in a kind of a campaign to open bars across Africa to increase access to the drinks, good or bad. And they got it right, but then they were employing young girls and there was a little bit of abuse and this and that and all that. So it's in the book, that case study there. So obviously I tried also in the book to balance it with, the good, the ugly and the bad, because it's not all, glorious,
And it's also not all bad.
Yeah, it's not all bad. You just need to be streetwise to be able to, understand the rules of the world, the road, where things are, and how things work, because, some places, depending on the demographic that you're dealing with, they still believe in hard cash. Don't tell me that you'll EFT, bring it back,
Yeah. Case for Africa. It sounds like one has to really be streetwise and lead like Solomon, figure out customization and a whole range more of the moves. If there's a company out there wanting to kind of grow in the continent, what case would you build for that expansion?
I mean, it will be a roadmap that is more customized to a segment that maybe is easier to enter and grow and expand. Don't do a big bang on Africa. There are 5 Africas or less or more that one needs to think about when you go to market. And that's what the book talks about. I mean, you can see that Shamil Jusub, a good friend of mine, I asked him to write the foreword of the book, my book. Our intersection was trying to solve a problem in Egypt, where I think Vodacom bought a business there. And in 2023, I was running Medtronic Africa, including the Mediterranean business. And in Egypt, January, I think 2023, the Egyptian pound was 15 to 1.
Yeah.
And then we're told that it was going to get worse. Part of my business was in dollars, which were not available, and the other business was in local currency, Egyptian pounds. And they told us that it was in 6 months, it was going to move to 1 to 30. And then the rush started to try and cash the pounds, which were going to become pap or porridge very quickly. And that time I reached out to the embassy there, American embassy. There was no ambassador for political reasons. Right in the middle of as well that Israel and Hamas thing. Reach out to Shamil. Shamil was facing the same problem and trying to solve it. Reached out to Standard Bank, trying to do that. Boom, the currency was devaluated to 1 to 30. And they said it's going to 50, so be ready. So, but I mean, we looked at a lot of many ways, including looking at collateral for the property and dealing with internal treasury for the business, where they say you can't do this, you can't do that. Every time we bring the solution, so what about this, what about that? It's like we brought some guys who said we got a lot of dollars, we can take the pounds, but we take 10%. The American companies, they say, where are these dollars coming from? From the war countries. So I mean, it's just all of it boils down to when you do business in Africa, you need to be problem-orientated, solution-orientated, trying to find solution all the time. Some solutions are good, but maybe not acceptable to a corporate that is being audited and tracked and all that.
Right. So we ask all our guests to give our listeners a challenge. Just one challenge for the week or for the months to come. What's the one thing you want to challenge our guests with?
I challenge the guests to buy a lot of my book and come up with ideas to solve in terms of doing business and surviving in Africa. So let's see.
Lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, that was it. Thank you so much.